Hey guys, welcome back to Alaz Gamer. It's my channel, guys. So welcome back to my channel. So this is actually going to be part 2, where we are still in the process of installing Windows 8.1 for absolutely free without spending a single penny at all. So in the previous video, guys, if you did not see my first video, the link is in the description, guys. Go there, see my first video. Now, if you have seen my first video, in the first video, I actually installed I actually downloaded the installation files required for installing Windows 8.1, and I actually did a trick by which you can actually skip the product key verification when we install Windows 8.1. And once those two is done, now we have actually downloaded an installation of Windows 8.1, which is actually for a 64 operating system. But if you're having a 32-bit, I told you that even if you have a 32-bit, please download a 64-bit architecture, because we're going to upgrade it from 32 to 64. So this video is actually going to help people who are planning to convert their PC from a 32-bit operating system to a 64-bit. So today in this part 2, I will tell you how you can actually activate, or how you can actually run the setup file in a 32-bit machine. First, what you're going to do is actually in this PC, you right click over here and go to manage. So in this, it's actually a computer management, and in this manage folder, we're actually going to disk management. And click on this management. Now this management is actually going to calculate all our partitions. Now you may be thinking, what is a partition? When you start this PC in your PC, or if you're using like Windows 8.1, if you go to my computer and open this computer icon in your start, when you have this, you can see there's a lot of different types of place where you store the data. Now these are called partitions of your hard disk. Now this actually specifies the space in your hard disk. It's made in different partitions. So what you're going to do is actually create a new partition. So how can we create a new partition? How can we create a new partition? Once you're in your computer management folder, in this management, guys, go to this management. Once you're in this management, they will show you how much partition is in your computer. Now in my PC, there is like 3 main partition, and this 3 partition, this is like my C drive is actually my main partition, in which I have the Windows 8.1 booting files, everything whenever I start my PC. Now this partition is always set as active. Now why it is, what do you mean by setting it as active? Now this partition has Windows 8 boot up files. That is why whenever I open my PC, Windows 8 boots up. That is why this happens. Now what we're going to do is actually create another primary partition. Now if you look at this says that this partition is actually a primary partition, and so we also need to create a new partition which is actually primary. Now in this partition, we're actually going to copy the installation files of Windows 8.1 and actually run it even in a 32-bit based system. How? I'm going to show you. First, we're going to create a new partition is actually by right clicking on it and go to shrink volume. Once you have clicked that, your PC is actually going to calculate how many free space is in your main partition, so that free space can be used to create a new partition. Now let me give a point here. A necessary point here is actually the new partition that you're going to create must be a primary partition. That is very important, because if it is not a primary partition, we cannot set the partition as active, and when we restart our PC, we cannot run the setup files. So I think you have an idea now. What I'm trying to do is actually, when I set the partition, when we set our partition as active, when we restart the partition, the files in that which partition that is set as active, the files in that partition runs. So the computer at that moment will not consider the data in the partition as a 32 based version or a 64 based version. They will just consider it as data, and they will just run the data. That is the Windows 8.1 setup, that is for 64 bit, and you're having a 32 bit, and you will be able to run it. Now here, as you can see, when we click on shrink, it gives the total value about 400 gigabytes over here, and the size available to shrink in MB is about 2 gigabytes or something like that. Now the setup is actually, you need to go back to whether how much the setup. Now setup is around to be 6 point something gig. So I'm going to create a partition of about 7 gigabytes. So I'm going to click on 7 and 3. Sorry, not 1. What you're going to give is actually 7 and 3 zeros, 1, 2, and 3. And go to shrink. When you click on shrink, the computer is actually looking whether your partition has a 7 gigabytes of free space. Yes, it does. And once it has found it has, it's going to take that 7 gig and create a new partition. Now, as you can see, a new partition have already been created. Now what we have to do is actually install this partition. As you can see, this partition is unallocated, so we need to make it as allocated. Right click on and go on new simple volume. Click on new simple volume now. And once that the installation for the new hard disk has come, welcome to the new simple volume wizard. Click on next. As you can see, next. Now continue with it next, and just give any name for your hard disk. I would prefer anything you want, A, B, something like that. Next, I'm gonna give the name as anything you love, just to recognize your partition. Any name you want. I'm gonna give it as win 8.1. Just give it that and click on next. Once that is done, finish. So this will become your new partition. But wait guys, it's not still become, it's becoming. Now let me tell you, this partition that I've created now is actually a logical drive. As you can see, it is given over here a logical drive. Now if you right click on this partition, we cannot set this partition as active. That means when we restart, we cannot set this drive will not read. How can you actually set this as active? Now that is going to be really simple. You need to go to the internet connection. I have not connected till now. I'm going to click on connect. Once you have connected in your internet connection, go to your browser, whatever browser you have. Just have a Google, a Chrome, anything that you have, whatever it is. So let your web page load up. Give some time. So guys, subscribe my channel, comment guys, share guys. If I don't have your support, nothing, really nothing. I really need your support guys. I really appreciate it if you subscribe, like, and share guys. So like it's been like 4 videos, 5 videos, I don't know. I actually got a little bit views than I actually expected. So thank you guys really for all of the people who subscribe me. I thank them all for doing it, because you're the guys that telling me to do more videos so that more people can enjoy this. So what you're gonna type is actually so how can you change a logical partition to primary partition. So just click on enter over there. Click on there. Okay, so it actually searches a lot of things. So there's a lot of ways you can actually do. As you can see, there's change partition between two logical and primary without. So there's like a lot of ways you can actually do it. Now so just do it any way you want. Now I did it in a way by actually going to the downloading a software. There's a lot of YouTube tutorial on it, a lot of channels are actually doing it. So guys, just go in there and do that. So okay, so we're going back to the process where once we have actually converted a partition to a primary partition, then what we are going to do is so we saw a lot of method by which we can actually convert a logical partition to a primary partition. Once you have done that, usually what you do is actually install a very simple program, and in the program it shows the list of partition that you have. Now you will click the partition that you have and set it as active and save the changes, and that's all that you're gonna do. Once you have made your partition as primary, that is this partition over here, I have actually created a primary partition already. Once that partition is run, it will just look like this over here. As you can see, this just like this is our new partition. So as you can see, this is like the partition that I created, but it's logical, so I convert it to primary over here. So and now what you have to create, once the partition is active, you have to copy paste all the installation file. It may be in ISO format. You have to extract it, and once the extraction is complete, you just either you can directly extract it to the primary partition that we just created now, or once the extraction is complete, just copy paste all the installation files required for installing Windows 8.1 to the primary partition that we have created now. Once that is done, we are like almost halfway through. What now we are going to do is actually again go to disk management, manage computer management. Once you have once the computer management has gone, go to the disk management over here, right click on disk management over here, click on disk management. Once as you can see, once you have created your primary partition, what you're going to do is actually right click on it and mark the partition as active. That means when you restart your PC, your partition which is marked will start to read the files inside the partition. The files inside the partition is actually Windows 8.1 set of files, so it will automatically run it whether or if it is going to be a 64 or 32 based installation. So I'm going to mark my partition as active. Once I have marked my partition as active, I'm going to restart my PC. Now guys, I cannot record while I'm restarting, so I'm doing it in another PC. In that PC, I'm not installing Windows 8.1, I'm installing Windows 7 in the same process, guys, in the same process. Believe me, I'm doing it in the same process. If you even do with Windows 8.1, the process, all of them will be same. Guys, will be absolutely same. Don't worry that I'm using a Windows 8.1 because I have already, as you can see, I have already installed it through that way. I have actually, you can see, I have actually installed it that way. So I had no idea for doing it. Then it will wipe up all my data on the desktop over here. So what I'm going to do is actually restart my PC. So when I restart the PC, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to record that in another PC, and I'm installing Windows 7, guys. Don't worry, it all will be the exactly same. So let's see whether the file will. So we have set a partition as active. So let's go and see. Let's restart our PC now. Well, now, so I'm restarting now. Actually, I have changed. I am doing this in another PC, guys, which has a Windows 7 operating system, and I am actually installing Windows 7 now. It also works in it. Now, before continuing to the installation file, I think see that loaded. Click Shift plus F to run. The command prompt will actually come up. Now here you have to type just disk part. Click enter. When this will come, just type list disk and click on enter again, and then select disk 0. Let's click on enter again. We'll go on that, and now the 0 is now selected disk. So we're going to actually now we're going to list the partition. So we're going to list partition. Okay, click on enter. It actually shows the partitions. So here we are going to make the partition 2 as active because we had made the partition 3 active. Now when we restart again, we don't need the installation file to run again. So we're gonna set the partition 2 as active. So we're gonna do is actually type select partition 2. Now select partition 2, partition 1, and you have different partition. I'm doing thing 1, and now activate. Now the first partition is active. Now click on exit and go on and continue with the installation file, guys. For Windows 8 and Windows 7, it is the same installation procedures. Now I'm actually doing Windows 7 because I have already done Windows 8. I'm doing it in another PC because in my PC I have actually done it. So this what you're gonna do is actually delete the other partition. If you're doing a clean installation, delete, and if you want some files, don't delete the hard drives. So then the extracting and all will be automatically done by the uh, the installation setup. So it will restart a few times. I'm actually, so as you can see, we are in Windows 7, but if you're running in Windows 8.1, we'll be in a Windows 8.1. Now if you want, you can go to disk management and actually delete the partition that we have made, then string volume, and yes. So let me go back to my old PC to show you if you're having a Windows 8.1. So you see I have installed it. Now you did see the video that previous it was actually Windows 7 installing the same when I believe me guys 100% it will work even for Windows 8.1. Now once that is like done, now it won't be the same. Now guys, you may be thinking that when I click my start, you can see my background. Now you can actually do that by actually going to your taskbar. Your taskbar, just go to properties. When you go to properties, you can see the navigation here, the navigation, and you can see show my desktop background on start. Just click on it and click on apply and okay. Now when you take your start, you can see this background over here. So now we have installed Windows 8.1, but it is not over till yet. You may have installed the Windows 8 thing, but after the installation, the Windows 8.1 will not be activated. If I'm going and looking into here, if as you can see here, it will be saying that Windows activation. You can see that Windows is activated, but in your computer it may say that Windows is actually not activated. So, and it will also show the build over here if you're using a Windows 8.1 professional, something like that, and it will show the build that you have over here, the kind of build you have over here, the build, and it will show that means that your Windows 8 is not activated. Now do you need to activate it? Of course you need to activate it now, because if you go to your start menu and if you go to settings, go to settings folder, go to settings folders, and if you cannot unlock these, you cannot do that. You can only do it, you can actually change your scenes, so you can actually only do it by actually activation. So I say that you should activate, or there may be error in the future, so do that. Now the activation, I will show it in the next I will show it in the next part guys. So this is the end of part 2. In part 3 I will show you Windows 8.1 activation guys. So thank you guys for watching my video. I really appreciate that you are actually supporting my video guys. So like, comment, subscribe and share guys. Alaz out.